or fear or desire to have more or need more before you can actually feel like you've accomplished so much in this life. I'm talking to me real bad right now.
I've been all over the world, you know, and I see the finest wine, and I see the finest times, but all the pretty girls never behave.
Y'all, hey, it's your girl B. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content and you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back again. We're locked in and I love that for us. And if you're someone who watches my video but has yet to subscribe to the channel, what are you waiting for? Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I promise you will love it here on my channel. So I mentioned a little bit earlier how fear has been something that I've been coming to understand this past month. I've been doing a Daniel fast since December 1st, and it actually wraps up tomorrow. Well, if you're watching this video, it ended today. I've been really looking to God to like give me understanding and also purpose as to what it is I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm going in the right direction, and honestly what's just the next steps for me going into 2025. And something that has been a reoccurring theme on a day-to-day basis throughout this fast has been the amount of fear that I allow to control me. And a lot of people could kind of pinpoint what kind of fear or what it is that they do fear and how to work on that. I realized that fear plays a part in every aspect of my life. And when I say every aspect, I mean every aspect. I realized that my biggest fear is instability. My biggest fear is disappointment. And it comes in the form of me being disappointed by others and then also disappointing others as well. If I have to pick what the common denominator is on why I fear almost everything, it's because of that disappointment aspect. So let's get into what I mean about that. Over the last month, I realized how irrational I am when it comes to being fearful of things that need to happen in order for me to progress in life. I reflected on a lot of the previous ideas that I've had in the past, business ideas, let's say, and a lot of it didn't come into fruition, not because I failed, not because I didn't have the finances, not because people just shut it down. A lot of the reasons why a lot of the ideas didn't work out is because I feared failure. I feared not being able to sustain myself. I feared people's judgment. I feared people talking about me. I feared not being successful. I feared it being a direct reflection of me. I felt like if I failed at something on my own, then I was a failure. So a lot of the times I would try to get someone to come in and deal with me, and a lot of the times like I'll do all the legwork. Like I don't mind doing all of that. It's just more so, I don't know, I didn't trust myself. I felt like I needed someone else there, or I needed someone else to see the vision in order for it to really be able to happen. Betting on myself just wasn't enough. I didn't have enough faith in myself to really believe that I could actually do this. And it's just sad because a lot of the things that I wanted to try, I really feel like I could have been great. And also, it may not have been God's timing, but it could have been. And now I'm just sitting here with regrets. All because I feared failure. I feared being judged. I feared just being looked at or frowned at or I don't know. It's just a lot. Yeah, so I just spoke about one example when it came to starting my businesses or business ventures. The next one is my career. So a lot of the decisions I make when it comes to the field I'm in, when it comes to the career I'm currently in, a lot of that stemmed out of comfort. I felt like where I am right now, I've been here for a while, I know what I'm doing, I can grow at an anticipated rate, and it's not risky. And to me, risk terrifies me because I just don't know what would happen. And I think that's me having some type of fear of not being in control, fear of everything going left. I feel like there has been times where like I wanted to move to another state and I didn't. Why? Because I feared that I would go to another state and fail. I feared that if I went to another country, I would fail. And not only that, I kind of looked to others to encourage me one way or the other. So if people were like, yeah, you know, it's a great idea, and I'd be like, okay, I can do this. But more often than not, it would be more people saying, it's tricky. Why do you want to do that? You could do this and have so much more success. Versus the people, because I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't have people in my corner who was like, nah, you could do it. It's just that internally I didn't really think that I could do it. So I allowed all those other people who said, nah, you could do so much better, to kind of get in my head and make me feel like, you know what, maybe it's not this time. Maybe once I get my degree, I'll go. Maybe once I get my master's, I'll go. Maybe once I, you know, save enough money, I'll go. It's all these things that I add to the criteria for me actually taking a leap of faith and trying to do something new. So now we have my career. We have starting businesses or business ideas. And now let's talk about finances. I fear being broke. I have an irrational fear of being broke. And the sad part is I haven't experienced poverty in my life, fortunately, thank God. So I don't know where that stems from. I don't know why I feel like I need to hold on to my coins so hard when I've never had to go without necessities. And then even on top of that, I feel like my family won't see me be poor and just kind of turn their back on me. So it's not like I don't feel like I have the support from my family and friends if I did decide to take a risk that would cost me so much monetarily or financially. I do feel like I do have a support system who will help me, but that ties into my next fear. I fear having to depend on anyone. I fear having anyone disappoint me, because it's easy to say that, you know, no one will kind of turn their back on me theoretically, but then when you get into it, you really don't know what people are capable of. And I find a lot of us, most often, we focus more so on the ways that people will disappoint us rather than focusing on the ways that they've showed us that they got our back. They showed us that they would support us. So I don't know, I just have a fear of disappointment and being disappointed by people. And then the last one is relationships. I think I fear putting 100% trust in another being, and I feel like that has made me hesitant in pursuing certain relationships or being 100% invested in a relationship. I really just fear what could happen. Similar to what I said about the whole poverty portion, when it comes to failed relationships, I hadn't experienced something that would make me feel like people are horrible. It doesn't make me feel like someone will just straight up desert me and leave. I haven't experienced that. However, I feel like there's growing pains that we go through in life and learning how to maneuver through them, because there's no such thing as being in a perfect relationship. But I feel like it's very important to at least try to stick it out, to talk things out, especially when like the love is really there. I feel like in the past I have been so quick to say things like it's whatever, like I don't, like you're not my forever, which sounds actually wild, but I used to say things like that. So basically there's a lot of fears that I'm dealing with and I'm trying to work through. Starting this fast has put me back on the track to kind of rebuild my relationship with God. My body is my temple, right? Yes, I attend church. Yes, I give tithes and offerings. Yes, I do all these things, but at the core of it, my body is my sacrifice. And the thing that helped me choose to do this fast is the fact that I need to sacrifice something in order to feel God's presence. And for me, that was simply food. I'm trying to live a life that reflects who God has designed for me to be, and a lot of that means listening to him and not being fearful, and really believing what God has destined for me will happen, and removing the fear of the world, removing the idolatry of the things of this world that we place values on. Because although we place significant value on relationships, on finances, on being an entrepreneur, on having a lucrative career, we place so much value on that, and we don't place the same amount of value on our body, on our temple, on our worship time to God, on spending time with God, on living out our lives as God has destined for us to do it. And I said it before, a big part of that is like, I don't know my purpose. But again, because God has revealed to me that I have such a dependency on fear driving all of the decisions that I make, that is something that I need to let go of. The fear of failure, the fear of failing at any and everything. So with that being said, the book I've been reading the last couple of days has been the book of Ezra. And today we're going to focus more on chapters 4 through 6. When you look at chapters 4 through 6 in the book of Ezra, it talks about how after Israel was exiled to Babylon, 7 years had passed and they were able to go back to Israel. And the king of that time told them to go back to Israel and rebuild God's temple. So at that time, the people of Israel were fearful because everyone that surrounded those areas weren't of God, weren't of Christ. They were their enemies, essentially. However, they overcame that and they went ahead and started rebuilding their temple. On top of that, there was this attitude of it wasn't as great as the original temple, right? But still they persisted and they built it as a way to uplift God, right? It was their way of building God's temple and honoring God, right? So regardless of how the past temple looked, this was something that they needed to do to show God just how important he was to them. On top of that, building that temple, they all pulled in their resources. Regardless of what they have or what they didn't have, they allowed themselves to give joyfully to go ahead and build up God's temple. On top of that, when people tried to distract them, they stayed on target to get it done. There were so many different things that allowed for them to go ahead and rebuild that temple. There were so many things that could deter them or dissuade them to no longer want to build the temple, thinking that it's not going to be as great as the first temple. Be like, nope, we're not going to do it. Being around other people who aren't God's people, it could be very well like, well, we don't really know these people. They could wipe us out, but they didn't let that stop them. Feeling like they didn't have enough resources, everyone gave to fulfill God's call for them. And I feel like if they could do all of that to show how much they honor God, how much they love God, why can't I do that? They went to go build that temple to show that they love God, that they worship God, without even having known about Jesus and what he's done for people, right? So here I am, someone who knows that God sent Jesus to die for my sins, who knows that I am forgiven time and time and again because of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. To know now what the Israels at that time didn't know and they were still willing to give so much to God makes me feel like, girl, do what you're supposed to do. Figure out what you're supposed to do. Don't let fear, don't let anything keep you away from really figuring out what God intended for you to do. And I think that's where I am. I feel like if I think it, if God doesn't give me a flat out no sign that I'm not supposed to do it, I'm going to go towards it. I'm going to run towards it, and I'm going to do it with integrity, with dignity, and always praising God in the process, always looking to God for direction in the process, and really honing in on that rather than allowing the fears of the world to make me not try anything. Because at the end of the day, as long as I've been me, I feel like there isn't that sense of safety. I don't feel like the world could provide me with any sense of security in any facet. But I feel like with God, or rather not feel like, I know that with God, I feel the most secure that I have ever been. I know that anything that I want to try, the only thing that can stop me is God. If God's will is for me to do it, then it's gonna get done, unless I let the enemy's voice in and start to believe those things that they say. Oh, you can't do it. Oh, it's gonna be difficult. Oh, you're better off doing something that's a little more safe. All of those things are holding me back, and it's been holding me back. And I thank God that I'm able to realize that now and actually move towards just being better, just being a better me, being more focused, and really not letting myself get in the way, or my thoughts of what others would say get in the way, or my thoughts of failure getting in the way. Because at the end of the day, God is going to always provide everything that I need if I trust in Him to do that. And I need to trust in Him. I think my fear also stems from that, because it's saying, how well do you really trust God that you feel like you have to control and seek security in all these different areas in your life, instead of going after your purpose, what is designed for you, what God wants you to do. Literally, all you have to do in anything you choose to do is take that first step. Well, no, not that first step. Is continuously take those steps and try to progress over time to really fulfill your destiny, versus try one time and then be like, nah, it's not for me, or see that someone else is having difficulty in that field and say, nah, it's not for me. Like, we can't make our decisions based on the views, the opinions, or the experiences of other people. Look to yourself, because everything that is in this life is saturated. There's 1,000,001 people doing everything, but if it is meant for you to do, you're gonna have so much success in doing it. And even if success doesn't come financially, it can be success of the spirit, success in the fruit, success in the amount of people you touch throughout your life, the joy of helping other people, the joy of allowing other people to come to Christ, the joy of be able to support other people, donate to other people, help people with their goals. Like, there are so many different ways for you to be successful in this life, and honestly, it will give you so much joy. But first and foremost, you have to seek God in order to get joy from any and everything that you choose to do, no matter how big, no matter how small. If you don't have that relationship with God and that love for God and the understanding that God loves you and He can help you in everything that you do, and He's the only person that you will please, He's the only person that you need to please, then you will always have this burden or fear or desire to have more or need more before you can actually feel like you've accomplished so much in this life. I'm talking to me real bad right now. Also, the book of Ezra really highlights that what God has planned for you is going to happen. No hater, no king, no queen, no president, no one can get in the way of God's plans for your life, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because there were so many people who tried to get in the way of the rebuilding of the temple. They told lies, they went directly to the king and accused them, will bring an uproar against the king, or they'll stop paying taxes, or they won't worship, they won't follow the king's decrees, and all these other things. And this is them talking about the future, and it's like, my goodness, they literally just want to build a temple. They just want to build God's temple, and you're creating so many narratives around that. That mirrors what we see in today's societies, and I just want to make a separate video discussing that. But the book of Ezra really gave me insight in, like, fear no one, fear nothing, fear God, and fear God because you know what it's like to have God. Fear what it would look like to not have that relationship with God, and work towards building that relationship with God. Work towards living my life in a way that pleases God. So that's what I'm working to do. And I'm just super grateful that God is just allowing me to see how to be better. But I still have this to say, do not let fear get in your way of just living your life to the fullest. Seek God in all that you do. And just have faith that He is with you in every decision that you make. Any decision that you make should be made with love. When you need to make a decision, it needs to be something that adds something out into the world versus something that you just do for yourself. Success is something that I look to get from God, and not something that I look to get on my own. So we'll see. But if you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You love it here because you made it to the end. But yeah, just hit that button. And if you want to know when my videos drop, go ahead and hit that notifications button as well. And aside from that, y'all have a great week. And I will see you all in the next video.
New York and MIA, then it's PG and on my way, so I'm never had to stay away.